Reimagining Chapel. My name is Amanda Esco, and I am the director of the Religious Education Program here at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. We are so glad that we have multiple ways to be with our community. We are together in person, especially next week. We are together on Zoom as we have been the past few weeks, and we get to be on YouTube. On YouTube, we are able to reach people around the world. Isn't that miraculous? People that have never even been inside our beautiful building are still here worshiping together with us. I'm so grateful for technology sometimes. Wow, one thing that isn't very technological, but joins us together in community is our chalice. If you have a chalice, go run and grab it and light it with me. Now we know that the light of the chalice is really whatever holds the light. Our intention today, before we get going, is listening. We're going to be listening deeply, and we're going to do this through love. That's our action, all right? So we light this chalice for listening in the spirit of love. We gather together in community to learn, to grow, and to serve. Well, I am so glad again that you are here with me. Let's start our worship by taking some mindful breaths. These mindful breaths can happen if you're standing up, sitting down, or even laying down, however you feel comfortable today. I think it is important, though, that you feel the earth beneath you, wherever you are. Okay, I have our bowl. We've done this meditation lots, so you all are experts at it. I'm gonna ding the bell. You're gonna take a great breath in before, and when I ding it, you're gonna let out the air as you hear the sound of the bell. Are you ready? Okay, deep breath. We're gonna do this 3 times, just 3. Let's take a deep breath in through our nose. Second time, deep breath in. Last time, deep breath in through your nose. Letting it all go. Well, I have some joys and concerns to share with you. My big joy is that next week is Valentine's Day. I love Valentine's Day. I love Valentine's Day as a day that we get to show others how we feel about them. And these are people that are our friends, our family, our neighbors, our loved ones. It's a day that we put intention into how we communicate with others about how we feel about them. And that just hits all the points for me. So I'm excited for Valentine's Day, as you can see from my sweater. Well, what are you excited for, or what's on your heart? Share those joys and concerns with the people that are with you, and I'll be right here waiting for you when you get back. Thank you for sharing your joys and concerns with the people that love you. Now, I get to share once again our UU of the week. And this is a person that is tied through history with several other UUs of the week. I hope you enjoy hearing her story. Today's UU of the week was a Black woman of faith who, working alongside her husband, sought to educate and give liberal religion to the South. Mary J. Jordan born Mary J. Davis, was born in Clinton, North Carolina in 1865 to Simon and Ann Davis. From an early age, Mary saw education and faith as her life's work. She attended her local elementary and high schools, and then she went on to study at the University of Raleigh. Mary graduated in 1884. After graduation, she returned to her hometown of Clinton and began to teach school. In 1892, Mary met and married the love of her life and former UU of the Week, Joseph Fletcher Jordan. We remember that at the time, Joseph was an African Methodist Episcopal minister, albeit a reluctant one. Together, they ministered to their community and taught in the local schools. They had 2 daughters that they loved very much and were also loved by their community. Now, remember when I said that Joseph was a reluctant minister? Well, he loved ministering to people, but he and Mary kept running into theological problems. The fire and brimstone of Southern churches didn't mesh with their views of an all-loving God. For a while, they even gave up their ministry and moved to Durham. All that changed, though, when they heard Quillen Shin, the traveling Universalist minister, preach for the very first time. Now, as the story goes, when they heard Reverend Shin preach, Joseph turned to Mary and whispered, "That's what I am." Mary in turn said, "Make it too." They began to meet with Reverend Shin and took on a new life as Universalist missionaries and teachers. In 1904, they went to Suffolk, Virginia to take over the church and school that Thomas E. Wise had left. Now, to say Universalism was unpopular in Suffolk is an understatement. Everyone in the community, from the black newspapers to other ministers, derided their ministry in the Universalist church. None of this bothered Mary, however. She encouraged her husband and children to put their faith in God and work hard for others. They had very little resources, but continued to run excellent schools for the underserved children in their community. Over time, the school began to receive community support. Mary insisted on a rigorous curriculum and the teaching of life skills for the children. They wanted the children to be both academically rigorously engaged and morally and spiritually fulfilled. The school began to operate 7 days a week. Their daughters, Annie and Martha, also worked at the school. The school became a success with hundreds of children enrolled. It was important to Mary that the children feel seen and loved at school. Mary and Joseph made special effort to get to know each family and each child. By 1911, the school had served over 1,400 students in their time. All students on Fridays received religious education instruction based on Universalist values and principles. They were changing the lives of each child and each family that invested in them with their beautiful, bright minds. Unfortunately, Mary did not have a long life. In 1916, she contracted pneumonia and died at the age of 51. Her funeral was so large, their Universalist church couldn't accommodate it. They had to hold the service at the Baptist church in town. It was probably the very first time Universalism was preached from that pulpit. Mary's work in the world changed the lives and spirits of generations of Black children in Virginia.
Hi, and welcome to the Wonderbox. I am Liz Lander, and I am so excited to be the Religious Education Assistant right here at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Thank you so much for joining me for this humanist edition of the Wonderbox. But we'll get to what's in here in a minute. We are almost done with our exploration of our 6 sources of spiritual inspiration, because today we are up to number 5, which is humanist teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. Humanism is a philosophy that dates back to the ancient Greeks. They basically said that humans were the source of moral or philosophical ideas, as opposed to these ideas and rules coming from deities or a god. There have been many forms of humanism throughout our history, and most of them have been secular, which means non-religious. Humanists also often identify as atheists, but that is not always the case. In the early 1900s, a Unitarian minister by the name of John Dietrich started a movement called religious humanism. Dietrich said, quote, "Our religious humanism teaches us that our faith needs to be placed in the power of humanity. If we live in a great impersonal universe with no friend to guide, it matters tremendously how we conduct ourselves. For we are actually the makers of human destiny. Our responsibility is to put beauty in place of ugliness, good in place of evil, laughter in place of tears, to dispel error with knowledge, hatred with love, displace strife and contention with peace and cooperation." I love that quote, you guys, because it mirrors the goals and beliefs that I set for myself in my faith statement of sorts so many years ago when I transitioned away from the faith tradition of my childhood. I decided to trust myself, to make good choices and to do good things. And it is so affirming to find that many other people feel the same way. So humanism is a call to action. It tells us that we are the hands of God on this planet. If a person needs help or this world needs to change, we have to do it. We can't just pray. Humanist teachings tell us that we can do it because people are good. We know right from wrong, and we can use our minds and strong reasoning to solve moral problems. Our 5th source also calls on us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science. And I am so proud that our community has done that during this recent spike in the virus. We have cared for each other by wearing masks and staying home when we are sick. And that finally brings me to this week's Wonderbox item. It is a mask. Science has told us that masks will protect us and the people around us. And I am so proud of all of you and grateful that you have been wearing your masks to church. And the good news is it's almost time to grab that mask and gather in person in the building again. I can't wait to see you all in person, and I thank you so much for joining me for this edition of the Wonderbox. Please join us again next time for Reimagining Chapel.
Each person is important. To be kind in all you do. 3, help each other.